incredibly nice and extremely well kept triple slide barn kept Cardinal here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This thing has been protected from the sun, wind, rain, snow, weather, stored in a barn away from all the harsh elements whenever not in use. You see the aluminum shrouded awning, slide out awnings applied to this thing. The skin still gleams, the tires look good. This is one of those true diamonds in the rough. Quick look at it in transit here. When the opposing slides close right up, that peninsula part of the kitchen does kind of pinch off the camper a little bit. Well, not a little bit, it pinches it right off there. So unless you're going to do the Dukes of Hazzard yeehaw, jump over that countertop, you will lose a measure of travel access. That being said, the hydraulic slides on this move the slides so fast that all three slides of this will go in or out in the time it takes one big electric super slide to do its job, so it's not hard to get into. And I mean, top to bottom, inside and out, this is as close to factory fresh as, what is this, an 04? Like an 04 could possibly get. I think it's an 04. I haven't looked at the VIN number. It just looks to be about right. Anyway, I mean, it is extremely, like, time capsule condition, guys. So all the windows are going to open for ventilation. Now, something I've kind of noticed on older fifth wheels when they come in, because this has the two-section day and night shades. Those weren't always found on, those were often found, rather, on RVs that had non-tinted windows. These are tinted windows, so it's noticeably cooler in here compared to a lot of the other campers that I've seen laying around in our used lineup right now. It also gives you more privacy, and you can see things like the furniture, not faded. It also helps that the day and night shades, I think, have pretty much been pulled down almost the entire lifespan of this RV. I opened them up to bring some light in here. But that's a good way to keep the RV cooler or warmer in the winter, as it were. But the day and night shade sections both working flawlessly. I've yet to find a window in here where the shade wasn't working properly, and that's uncommon on used RVs. Usually at least one window shade has been popped or bumped or something. So once again, it tells me it's been well kept and very gently used. The table does have an extension leaf here for guests, and that is a traditional inner spring hide-a-bed. But what's kind of cool is it actually does have individual recliner kick-out ends on that, and you can kind of see the handle for one right there. So the two end sides are going to kick out almost like a theater seat, kind of a precursor to a lot of RV theater seats. A neat little detail factor on this is that each side window beside those recliners will open for airflow. Now, the recliners are close, but they do not exactly match everything else in here. So my suspicion is that is an aftermarket residential set of recliners upgrades, which means those are nicer than the original chairs that were in there when this thing was brand new. We do have naturally central air and heat. I won't burn a lot of time talking about that. But when this floor plan was in its prime, like Jayco called it a 291 RLTS Eagle, this was like the alpha dog of the fifth wheel world. This is the big, like, triple slide, luxury retirement grade layout and floor plan that a lot of people are looking for. Had a lot of good benefits. By having this whole kitchen in the slide out, it got all that cabinet bulk and space off the main floor plan. And speaking of cabinet bulk and space, check this thing out when everything opens right up. First, I love it anytime storage comes to you and you don't have to go to the storage, like that little slide out wire rack right there, especially when it's low to the ground, so you don't have to get on your hands and knees to go elbow deep up to the back of that cabinet. Now, even below the oven, we've got full drawers here, and all the hardware in this is in great shape. That countertop extension, I'm impressed, is surprisingly strong and robust once set up. And what it's really intended for is when you reach your destination, it's intended to be left up all the time because obviously there's drawers below it. So it's a way for them to have extra counter space at a destination while still being more travel friendly and accessible. Now you've just got all sorts of square foot of countertop space in here, and you've got one full-size sink and then one oversized sink to the right of that with fitted covers, so you can use that for pretty good prep space as well. The oven over here, a larger 22-inch oven for bigger cooking, and you know what, I haven't opened that up. Let's take a look in here. Oh, that ain't been used. That has not been used much at all. Oh my god, I don't think they really used the stove a whole heck of a lot either. These were not campsite chefs, ladies and gentlemen. So you do have room up here if you wanted to. You could drop that down. I bet you could put a more modern convection microwave in there if you were interested. Also in the slide out, you've got that full overhead cabinet storage there that's very easy to miss. You don't realize how deep that cabinetry is when everything's closed. Now, we're going to kind of turn our gaze up top here real quick. We got this residential ceiling fan for like everywhere airflow, but also you have this Maxxair Vent Fan up here, and you have one in the bedroom as well, and you'll find roof vent covers on those to give you some like anytime nice friendly airflow. Over here, you can see that extra skylight above. It just really lets in that extra cascade of light, and it makes this thing look and feel bigger from the extra brightness. And I am surprised, this even has the original Magnavox TV that came in this thing. It'd be very easy, by the way, to swap that out and put, probably you could fit about a 32-inch high-def flat screen in there with all sorts of cabinet space below that if you wanted to upgrade your entertainment needs. Now, your slide side windows, kind of like your seat side windows in the back next to your recliners, will open for airflow. And I do believe we already talked about the freestanding table and chairs here. So, moving upstairs. Oh, by the way, right when you walk in also, you've got a nicely hidden master control center here so that it's just not obvious from the kids walking through, like grandkids wanting to push buttons. And by the way, this does have heated holding tanks. I'm glad I looked in there because that reminded me of that fact. So this was built, one of the reasons that someone's going to look at the weight on this, go, holy crap, how is this only like 9,655 pounds when it seems like every other big fifth wheel I've seen on the market, it's like 10, 11, 12,000. Well, this combination bedroom and bathroom, it's called Split Bath Master Suite is the name for it. It's one of the reasons why, because this concept allows an RV to be like several feet shorter, like 3 or 4 feet shorter. And that very quickly reduces weight and cost of an RV. Now, what is nice is this is a full walk-in height bedroom and bathroom. So being a high-profile fifth wheel like the Cardinal is, I'm never going to worry about bonking my head in here. Now, in addition to cross breeze windows everywhere, once again, you've got these nicer fans. And take a look at the screen and the blades. You notice how they are incredibly clean? This RV was not allowed to get dirty. It was not ever poorly maintained. This was always like virtually rubbed, basically rubbed with a diaper from what I can tell. This is impeccably well kept with some awesome front closet and dresser storage here. Now, pardon me, this was made a little bit before really demand for washer dryer hookups in a big fifth wheel had really made it into the marketplace quite yet. So that is not a feature that you will find in this one, but short of that, there's nothing in this that really scares me in terms of how it's built, how it's been kept, how it's appointed for use for like park or seasonal use or maybe full timing. And it doesn't look like this thing has ever really spent a lot of time on the road because the tires look good. I don't see where they've been wore out. I don't see any sort of like stress fractures on the fiberglass skin or anything like that. It's been used. I talked to the folks, they're like, yeah, no, we used it, but really the only reason it's here is this was intended to be the last fifth wheel. And it was. They used it until they reached the point where they just physically, due to just debilitation due to age, they just really couldn't camp and maintain it the proper way anymore. And they were smart enough to recognize that. And they decided, you know what, we're going to bring it to Haylett RV. We're going to have these folks list it and sell it for us. And we think that our adventuring days are done. So it seems kind of sad at first. But it was a positive story. It's not like anyone died and now that they have to give up their fifth wheel. They went out, they had fun, they built memories, and now maybe you folks get to do the same. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of like passing the torch, passing the Cardinal. And I cannot say enough about the positive maintenance history and upkeep and condition of this used fifth wheel. It is beautiful. I mean, the decals are factory flawless in level. You can see that there's not an ounce of fading or peeling or degradation here. You can see the skin still gleams. Everything looks good. Looking down here in the pass-through. The pass-through. Now, the folks added the handy little cargo netting to keep stuff from shifting. But if you look past that, you look down in here, look at the floor in the pass-through. They didn't put like dirty, loose cargo in this thing. It is beautiful in here. This is cleaner in the pass-through than some new fifth wheels that I get sometimes here at Haylett RV. Stuff like having the quad step to make coming and going, that's things that didn't hit the mainstream market until a little bit later. Now I can tell you that at one point this was used on something of like a seasonal or permanent site, and they had an awning screen room, and I can tell you that because of the little button snaps that are still remaining on the sidewall and around the nose of it. That's just a dead giveaway that somewhere this thing was parked, where they put one of those like skirts under the gooseneck, and around the awning they had a nice little tent screen room. So maybe they had it at something like a permanent or seasonal site, but obviously they stored it away from the harsh Michigan weather. I'm not seeing chassis corrosion. I don't see skin degradation. The slide awnings look amazing, which let's talk about those for a minute. Your slide seals and your awnings have obviously been well kept and maintained. Whatever this RV ever needed, it received it, guys. Underbelly's enclosed, insulated. I mentioned how it has the holding tank heaters. This is exactly how you want a used fifth wheel to look for you. Oh, power rear jacks. Is that what that is? Sure is. You didn't usually find that on something built during this time period. Now, looks like the previous owners, I don't believe Cardinal was really known for putting 2-inch receiver hitches on the back of their fifth wheels. This one does have one on there though, and with the extra support bars added to it, it does look like an aftermarket job, but again, done extremely well. So if you wanted to put like a little bike rack or something back here, you'd probably be fine with that. I haven't looked at it. I don't believe at a glance it's got quite the structure. I'd want to call it a towing hitch. But even though the model number of this, here's another quick thing for you guys. The model number of this, it says 29LX. This thing is about a 35-foot fifth wheel. You know, a lot of people know that model numbers don't necessarily perfectly designate an RV's size, and this is certainly one of those cases. One of the big benefits of barn kept storage is just the fact that the roof is not all wore out and burned out from the sun. And amazingly, ladies and gentlemen at home, boys and girls, children of all ages, the seals by and large look okay. Now, there are a couple areas where I do see some hairlines starting. So there are definitely a couple areas that I think would benefit from a couple little spot touch-ups. But overall, it looks good up here. It looks good. It does look like maybe they replaced the vent cover on that right there for one reason or another. I'm not sure. But overall, you can see that there's been Maxxair covers over these things. And they've even updated to newer King Jack antenna wing on that crank-up antenna there. So I don't see an ounce of anything up here that scares me in the slightest. In fact, this is one of the very cleanest Cardinal fifth wheels I've ever seen come in on trade. There's only one I would say is maybe any cleaner, and probably the only reason I feel that way is just because it was like 10 years newer than this. So overall, I mean, look at the slide awnings. Look how clean those are. This has been kept clean, been kept nice, has not been, rode hard and put away wet. This is what you want to find on a used RV right here. And obviously the roof's walkable because I'm marching all over it currently. So if you take a look around, you can see that whether it's hitching, pieces, parts, trades, financing, truck and trailer, package deals, RV delivery, and everything in between, we only do everything for you here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.